Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Pamela, and you are watching Pam Entertainment TV, where we review movies, television series, and incidents in pop culture, just to see how those incidents affect our daily lives. Listen. It's good to be back, y'all. It's good to be back. I did a video earlier letting you all know that I will be doing Atlanta until it concludes. And then I will also be adding pop culture chats to my channel. We lost a couple of series, so I only have one, which is Atlanta, and I'm going to be doing some pop culture chat. So look out for my pop culture chat on Friday or Saturday. I'll probably upload it on Saturday morning. So look out for that, okay? So let's get into this. We are on episode 9. We are once again in the Atlanta cinematic universe. We are not going to be with the main characters this week. And the episode of this, the title of this episode is Rich Wigga, Poor Wigga. Now, you know, once we delve into this Atlantic cinematic universe, we always deal with anything from the issues of race to the issues of class to any of those types of things. So I think what we're dealing with right now is white and biracial culture. Again, sometimes these episodes will go over my head, and I have found that as I am editing, it'll hit me. But we'll just go into the episode, let you know what's going on, and then we'll come back and do some talking about it. All right. So we start this episode off with young man's playing video games, and honey, inward this and inward that is flying throughout the whole situation while he's playing, I don't know what game, Call of Duty or some kind of game to that nature that they're playing. He ends up losing or winning, I can't really tell, but he ends up when this young man finishes the game, he starts with these little monkey sounds to talk to the black people, because clearly well, I'm not going to say clearly, because I have watched, my brother is big into video games, and I have watched him play, and you can hear that these people that are on the other side, they're clearly, folks are coming from the Caucasus Mountains, and they're calling inward this and inward that and inward this, and I believe they believe because they are in the safety of their home and no one can get to them at that point, you know, it's more young white kids calling everybody the N-word this and the N-word that, boasting than the black folk. And but my brother plays with people that he knows, that he's familiar or have played with. So they play in their own little group, so they don't usually play out in the world with a whole bunch of folk. But anyway, off on a tangent. So we find out that this young man, his name is Aaron, and we also find out that he is a biracial child, white passing. And what that means is that when you see him, by all purposes and all things, besides maybe his nose and maybe a slight little kink in his hair, he's passing for white. Apparently Aaron wants to get into a college called ASC, and everybody is big about getting into ASC. But his father will not fill out the FAFSA forms. The father does not believe in filling out the FAFSA forms. He doesn't want to do that. He's told the boy that he needs to save for college. He also tells the boy that, once you graduate from high school, you're going to have to start paying rent. So, basically, the father is not willing to invest any more into this young. He wants him to get it on his own. His father seems like the pull it up from your bootstraps type of man. But also, you also have this young biracial child who is white passing, who is inundated in the white culture, and maybe there was an assumption that because he was white passing and he was with white folks, he was going to be able to get a leg up. But then what we see is white folks struggle just like black folks struggle. They want to act like when we struggle, we're getting some type of advantage or something like that. Because anyway, Aaron's girlfriend is named Kate, and Kate has asked him about, have you filled out the FAFSA? She's going over everything that he needs to do. He's done everything. However, his parents are not willing to fill out the form, so therefore he's not going to be able to get the required loans or the required, I don't even know if he got a scholarship or not. I don't know if he was looking for a scholarship or not, but maybe he is not as bright, but Kate got a scholarship. So, right then I see a couple of things, and I think this is one of the things that black folks, especially young people, is no problem with you getting the FAFSA, but there's also so many different scholarships out here that you can get that have nothing to do with academics. And I think if he would have spent most of his time getting that information done, but who is he getting that information from? Where is he getting that information from? Anyway, we're going to keep going. So, all the seniors, over the overhead, the principal gets on the overhead and she says, all seniors need to report to the auditorium. They report to the auditorium. They don't know what's going on. The principal goes on and on about this man that's there and that he's an alumni and he wants to talk to them. So then we see Mr. Robert Shea Lee. He comes out with his own little music and everything like that. He is an entrepreneur. He owns a pink oil hair company for the black ladies to put the oil in their hair, pink oil to moisturize their hair. He is a Stonewall Jackson high school graduate. And he alerts them, he talks to them about his struggles in life and how he's overcome these things and all of these little different things. Once he does that, he announces that he is going to pay the college tuition for all the seniors. And everybody's all excited and throwing high fives. And, Aaron is with his white friends. Let me back up before that. So before school starts, Aaron is with his white friends, and his white friends are like, the black people, ew, why they got to be so loud? Why they got to do this? And they're like, well, they're going to go to college. And they're like, yeah, but they get scholarships and they get money and stuff like that to go to college. And what they don't even realize is you don't. They've got to get scholarships. They've got to get loans. They've got to get all these different things the same way that you got to get it. They're not getting anything one leg up. The only thing that they get is that PWIs can't pass them over just because they're black. They still got to pay. But if that white person goes to HBCU, they get to go for free. Nobody wants to talk about those things, though. Anyway, let's get back to the auditorium. We get back to the auditorium, and Mr. Lee decides that he's going to pay for the college education for the high school seniors. And then there's a caveat. He says, only if you're black. So now the white kids are upset. Aaron is like, oh, wait a minute. My father is black. He is going to pay for me. My father is black. So he doesn't tell his white friends that he's going to go. He tells them that he's going to go see the guidance counselor or somebody he's going to see. But he's going to the auditorium because now you've got all those, all of these white passing, biracial. You have all of these Indian. You have a whole bunch of folks out here in the hallway waiting to get auditions to go and to get a scholarship. Because one guy out there explained that it's not the nature that your skin, it's just like the culture. If you can be in the culture of being black, he'll give you a scholarship. Interesting. Because what we saw with the kids outside, the essence of being black is a problem. But when there is a benefit of being black, then all of a sudden everybody wants to pull back to that ancestor back in 1823 and whatnot. So Aaron goes in to do his audition, and again, he has spent his whole life around white folks, being around white folks, looking down pretty much at black folks. But now his black side is there is a benefit to it, and he feels like he is obligated to get that benefit. Now he has talked about these folks and has built his nose down at folks for all this time, but now all of a sudden his blackness has currency. So he goes in to see how much he can get. So they start asking him all kinds of questions. So he walks in, he answers a couple of questions, and a lot of the questions that he's guessing. And he leads with, my father's black. They're like, and get your father to come in here and file for the scholarship and see if he can get him a scholarship. And so he realizes, oh, he can't bank on his father's identity. He goes through the thing, and one of the men, and I think he's played now. Let me tell you who the people are played. I saw J. Anthony Brown up there, the one with the white hair. He played there. He used to be on the Tom Jordan Morning Show back in the day. And then we see the YouTube's own Kevin Samuels being Robert S. Lee. Now, if you are not familiar with Kevin Samuels, I'm not going to spend this time talking about him here. But check out my pop culture chat. I'll just briefly talk about him on my pop culture chat that's coming out in a couple of days. But he is there. But he has sadly passed away. He has passed away. So it's just interesting he didn't get to see himself with his debut. And that's all I'm going to say. So he is actually O'Shea Lee. That's what I'm going to call him. R. Shea Lee. Robert O'Shea Lee. So he questions him. He tells him, he says, I know I used to go to school with a guy like you. And his name was Clarence Thomas. And we're not talking about the Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. We are just talking about a guy named Clarence Thomas who was probably white passing and acted the way he did. And until he didn't claim black folks until he needed black folks. You know how you have them kind of folks. Don't claim the culture of blackness, American culture of blackness, until you need American culture of blackness. So he's mad. He's upset. He goes home. He tells his father what happened, and his father is how he thinks is unfair and all of this other stuff. His father doesn't give him any type of support or anything like that. He just kind of laughs at him and tells him, hey, I got to go and do this. You keep you make sure you keep the shop running, as while I go do some stuff and do some errands. So he's on I don't know if it's Facebook or whatever. He's on social media. Now, his girlfriend, Kate, now, she has always been into him. She's never been into black guys. And you can tell from, you remember when I talked about earlier about how the kids were talking before school, the white kids, you can tell that she never really interacted or wanted to interact with black folks. Now, all of a sudden, you see her he sees her in real time. A black guy from the school likes one of her pictures, and she in real time says something or likes something to him back. So he gets real upset, honey. Aaron gets real upset. He calls her, what are you doing liking the picture and stuff like that? If I would have done this to somebody, you'd have got mad and all this other stuff. And she's like, well, Aaron, I liked it. He's going to I think it's ASC. And I'm going to ASC, so, everybody who's going to ANC, she's trying to just kind of not hook up with sexually, but just trying to link with so they can have like a big coalition when they go off to school. And she tells him, you're not going to school. And he's like, no. She says, you didn't fill out the FAFSA form. You haven't filled out or done anything in regards to anything. I know you're not going to ASC. And so because I know that you're not going to ASC and our futures are not aligning, we're going to break up. Baby, what did she say that for? Aaron gets pissed. And I mean, Aaron is PO'd. So he builds this ghost. When I first saw it, I was like, "What is this Ghostbuster contraction he got built up here?" But he builds this fire starter, flamethrower, flame blower, flame whatever they call that is. Blows out flames and stuff like that. Cause he's fixing to go and burn down the daggone school. Really, really. I'm sitting here, really? You about to burn down the doggone school? Really? So he gets there, and then there's this black guy that comes up. And they talk to each other, and they're like, well, "What are you doing to play?" And the guy says, "Well, I didn't get a scholarship." And Aaron says, "Why?" He says, "Because I'm Nigerian." And Robert Shea Lee said, "Because I'm Nigerian, I'm not black. I don't participate in black culture here in America. So I didn't get the scholarship." So Aaron's like, "Well, that makes sense because you have a country that you live in. You can trace your lineage back to infinity and beyond. And I can see why you didn't get the scholarship." Well, the Nigerian young man says, "Well, I can't see that because, I live," what did he say, Lithonia? I can't remember where he said he was living. He says, "I can't see that." He says, "Because, I've lived here basically all my life. I was only born there. I didn't know anything about it. I was only born there." And so Aaron just looked at him. He was just like, "Well," and, honey, they was playing who gonna burn what down first. And they end up throwing the flamethrower at each other. So the black guy, they burn down the sign. And then they're playing, they're playing Call of Duty style. We gonna burn each other up with the flamethrowers, and it ends up that the black guy goes up to the top of the roof of the school where the black kids eat lunch. Because I failed to say this, that the black kids are always up at the top. At the roof, that's where they have lunch and stuff. So he goes up there and he was about to engulf Aaron into flames. Well, as he was getting ready to do that, the cops come through and they shoot the black guy. They shoot the Nigerian guy, and they put Aaron in the police car. So Robert O'Shea comes to the place. He sees a sign burned down, and then he sees the Nigerian guy, and the Nigerian guy is crying. He's like, "I didn't give you the scholarship because you weren't black enough." And he's like, well, son, getting shot by the police is the blackest thing you could ever do. He says he gave him some information. He says, "You're going to get the scholarship." He says, "Let me know when we'll pay for all your medical bills and all this other stuff. We're going to get you, when you get out, you're going to go to school." He don't look nowhere near Aaron. Aaron sees all this take place. He looks nowhere near Aaron. So ends up a year later. So Aaron had to go to court. He probably had to go to jail. Child, when we see Aaron, baby, he done cut off. He don't have that wispy hair blowing in the wind no more, honey. He done cut that hair down low with a low guard, honey. And he is brushing them waves in. And he is talking to some black girl, trying to hook her up with his little discount at the store that he's working in, child. And when I tell you, he has embraced who he is in regards of that part of him that makes him black, and I'm putting that in quotations. And so Kate comes by, because you could tell that she's all at college. She looks all collegey, all preppy, and she looks at him. And she's like, "Oh my gosh." And he looked at her. He was like, "Hold on." She thought she was going to make things. He was like, "Hold on." And she was like, "Oh my God, what?" So he tells the little black girl to go up to the front and talk to Darnell. And Darnell will hook her up with the discount. And he's cool. So she's like, "How have you been?" This is Kate to Aaron. "How have you been?" You're like, "All right." The way he speaks, the way he verbalizes is all different from when we see him before. And she's like, I just wanted to come by and say hi and see how you were doing." And he tells her, he tells her, you know what? He says, ooh, right now I've just never been more attracted to you. And she's like, oh. And then he looks into the camera and then it goes off. Now, that was the show. So, let me just be real clear. There's just a couple of things that are going on that I wanted to highlight. I wanted to highlight that stood out for me. Number one is the differences of how white kids and black kids perceive what's the process of how they have to do certain things. White kids feel like black kids are entitled to a lot of stuff, and they get a lot of stuff. And white people, black people say the same thing about white people because they have a lineage and a legacy and the opportunities that they're entitled to a lot of different things. But when it comes to now, that's one difference. One of the things that I don't think, because you can have a middle-class black person, you can have a middle-class white person, and that middle-class white person will think that middle-class black person gets all the privileges and all this other stuff, and the middle-class black person may say the same thing about the white person. But what both of them fail to realize is not only are there racial issues going on in the United States of these Americas, is also there's class issues. So you can be poor and white and poor and black and grow up similarly. But because there is an area of you being white, that gets cascaded above you being black. It is what it is. You can argue with your mama about all of that. All right. So that's one issue about that. Another issue that's important for especially young people is that it is very important, if you are talking about going to college, that you do a lot of research. There are a lot of different scholarships that you can get. There's a lot of different scholarships that you can get that doesn't necessarily have to do with academics. There are a lot of corporations. There are a lot of nonprofit groups and all kinds of things like that. There's even a lot of government programs that will offer you money to go to school outside of you getting all of this FAFSA loans. There is a young lady on TikTok that talks about this. I don't have her name, but I'm gonna look her up and I'm gonna put her name down here. You can follow her TikTok. She can help you, give you a lot of information about getting college scholarships, not only for 4-year, but postgraduate scholarships as well. So if that's something, stipends and all kinds of stuff. So if that's something that you're interested in, go check out her TikTok. She can definitely give you some information on that, or at least how to start with your research. The other thing that I found interesting is, no, we won't talk about that. We won't talk about that. That for me is too deep. So what did y'all, sorry about that. What did y'all think of this episode? Like I said, I didn't see, the way I've explained it is what I have seen throughout this episode. Like I said, we had a couple of cameos from Kevin Samuels and J. Anthony Brown, and I didn't see who that third man was up there because he was too light. There was too much light for me to see, and I guess I could look at the credits, but he wasn't all that important in my opinion. He's important because he was on the show. I misspoke. It's just not enough for me to go back and figure out who he was, because he didn't speak enough for me to recognize his voice, and not enough for me to want to go look him up and see who he is. That's what I mean. Not that he's not important. Tell me what y'all think of the episode. Did you like it? Did you not like it? So, like I said, we are in the Atlanta cinematic universe this week. We probably will get back to the main characters next week. So tell me what you thought about this episode. Once again, I'm Pamela. This is Pam Entertainment TV. Please like, comment, and subscribe down below. Thank you all so much, y'all. I've got 46 subscribers. Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate you listen. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Also share. Tell them folks. Tell your family. Tell your friends. Tell them folks at work. Even tell them folks you can't stand that I'm over here making these videos. Help me help you see me. All right, people. And as always, bye-bye.